Maybe 18 minutes, maybe 20, I don't know. I want to talk a little bit about the uh, movie that, or the sale of Lucasfilm that's been rumored to happen. Now we have a name attached. Saudi Prince Fahad bin Faisal, he's a Stanford graduate. He's done a lot of stuff at in Silicon Valley. He was a Facebook representative for Facebook Arabia. And it's one of those things where, hey, just some other guy, where you have to take things as they come and be very careful. Now, and this is why I'm doing this right now. They announced two movies coming out, Star Wars movies coming out in 2026. Now, get in your way back machine. Go all the way back before Disney bought Lucasfilm. And this is from Bob Iger's autobiography, Ride of a Lifetime. He had told George, Lucasfilm isn't worth what you want for it because you don't have any movies in the production. This is how they said something about they wanted sequels to the OT, and George gave them, oh, I would too. George gave them his script treatments. They shit canned him. Okay. Sequel is, first off, let's clear this up. The sequels were not George's idea. The story ended with the rebellion winning, and then, you know, he gave the people who cared the most, the fans with the EU, chance to explore the galaxy with Han, Luke, and Leia, and fight the Imperial Remnant. Okay, but it really wasn't something he wanted to do. As far as he was concerned, the story ended at the end of the Return of the Jedi. He made the prequels, which were actually good movies. He got a lot of shit for them, and I think there are fans out there who are poo-pooing this because they don't want George back because they don't like the prequels. I mean, look, you run into them. Okay, they're big Star Wars fans till you bring up the prequels, and you ask them, have you seen Revenge of the Sith lately? And they're like, I don't want to watch that. I've only seen it once. Look, I took a nephew to see. I went to see Revenge of the Sith in the theater. I took my nephew. Didn't like it. He liked it. I didn't. After TFA came out, I watched all six of the first six in chronological order, and I think the two movies I watched the most is The Empire Strikes Back and Revenge of the Sith. Sith is a great movie, and when I hear faux fans saying they don't like the prequels, they're the ones that are yelling, I think, the loudest against George buying it back. They didn't watch the Clone Wars. See, you have YouTubers that are huge Star Wars fans who've never sat down to watch Clone Wars. Okay, that's another story. So George gets the sequel trilogy, the cast lined up, sells to Disney for more than what they were going to pay because he didn't have any, didn't want to do sequels, and they bought it. Now, George could have gone in the way back machine and done a Dawn of the Jedi movie or whatever, but they wanted the original cast. It was a business decision to bring Harrison, Carrie, and Mark back and then abuse them out of a business decision. And it didn't work out. I mean, we can sit there and say it did, but it didn't work out. But that's how this happened. Okay, so I see whoever's going to, this is still speculation. No one's saying it's a done deal, but now we have a name to it. Fahad bin Faisal, uh, uh, a prince of Saudi Arabia, and he seems like kind of a unique character. He's got this view that he wants to bring the world together, bring cultures together, and you know, Star Wars is the perfect conduit for that. That's what it did. That's what George did. Star Wars, because of what it's about, was able to speak to every culture except for China. Let me explain why on that one. And Kamran would be able to really expound on it. They don't want individuals being heroes because it gives people precedent to be individuals. And the individual is frowned upon in China. There aren't any stories of heroic individuals, really, in the Chinese, in the Chinese current culture. Okay, it's frowned upon. But collectivists, if you all look alike, act alike, and think alike, they're safe. The moment you've got someone stepping out of the crowd saying, "What the fuck are we doing this for? Can you explain it to me? What's in it for me? Why should I listen to you?" Then you got a problem. This is why the hero's journey probably would have made it into China, you know, years ago before the communists came in, but not anymore. Okay, so that's why it doesn't work. But because Islam has Muhammad, Christianity has Jesus Christ, the Judaism is Moses and David. The three great monotheistic religions all have at center core the hero's journey. Okay, that's why Star Wars, I think, makes a big difference in a lot of these cultures that are not American. Hindu culture, Buddhist culture, Siddhartha Gautama, hero's journey, Japan. Okay, so it makes sense that he would see it as a way to bring people together because until Kathleen Kennedy got her fingers on it, it was okay. So, but but while we're saying this, these not two movies. I think there are three movies listed. Matt Bellany in his tweet said two. They've been moved a year back, further back. And what are they there for? Is it like Matt Bellany said, nobody believes these movies will happen until they're in production. Okay, think about it. All right, this is a bargaining chip for sale, I would say, and that because that's how Iger got George to sell in the first place. George wanted to sell. He was sick and tired of the Marion County bureaucracy. He wanted to spend time with his new baby girl. And there you go. Okay. There you go. And that's why he sold. The stuff with the fans sure bothered him. But it really wasn't the fans as much as the media ginning it up. And that's one of the things that we need to remember. Get in the Wayback Machine again to 2024. 2025, you had Red Letter Media. You had, Variety and you've got Leslie Headland in 2019 attacking the prequels. Okay, so, but because the Clone Wars came out, a lot of the fans that actually liked Star Wars watched it and realized that the movies were better than they thought because no bargaining chips for Iger to use, Mike. So we've got these three movies that don't have any names. I'm going to assume one is heir to the empire. Everything it looks like it's moved back because of the WGA strike. Again, they put fucking dates on them, and they shouldn't do that. They're done when they're done, and they're released when they're released. You don't do that. Look, with the Star Wars movie, there should be 3 years between each. This calendar is just, I think, bullshit. Okay, they know it too. They're not stupid. Iger himself said we've learned a lesson, and we're not going to release them like we did before. Maybe you shouldn't have Kathleen Kennedy working there anymore. Maybe you shouldn't have Roundhead Johnson anywhere fucking near a tentpole movie like this. So what I think is that they're bargaining chips. They're out there as bait for whoever's going to buy it. Now, again, let's go back to Fahad bin Faisal. He doesn't have the money. He has $600 million to his own name, which I wish I had that much. I'd be living on a ranch out in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and there'd be horses everywhere, and and definitely not in Pennsylvania. But anyway, he doesn't have the money. So what? So who else is involved? He is the one that Lucasfilm's rumor mill is running with. It's probably a group of investors that he gathered together. Now, because George Lucas is a well-known man, because the Saudis not only like to overpay, they also want a white person, especially someone of Lucas' stature, to be the person in charge, like the face of it. And they sit back and, collect money and are part of it, and, get to schmooze with, I'll tell you a story about the Saudi royal family. They get on the plane. The woman is in full abaya, face covering and everything. And he is in the robes and the keffiyeh. Gets off the plane in London. He's dressed in a Savile Row suit, and she's dressed in Chanel. Okay, hey, Matt Piranha, that's what they do. So they like to schmooze. They like to be part of it. And it's all about stature. Look, these guys are still Bedouin. They're still, yeah, they do, but they don't do it in Saudi Arabia. Now, I'm going to tell you something. Bin Faisal has obviously a reputation for being kind of a wild man. The Burning Man Festival, for crying out loud. Mr. Yoga Dude. Which I can't imagine conservative Saudi clergy and aristocrats really caring for that. But you can't have the stuff that we've seen in Star Wars lately in Andor, the Lesbos smooching at the end of The Rise of Palpatine. You can't have that there. They will lose their fucking minds. Okay, so I don't think we're gonna see that. Okay, that if it was Bill Gates, if it was, I mean, Klaus Schwab, I don't think has the money to do anything like that. If it was Soros's brat, I'd be worried, but it's not. All right, that's not the name that came out. And if it's an investment group, and it's Fahad bin Faisal is the face of it. The face of the buyers. It doesn't really make any sense then that it would be, if they're Saudis, that they would allow the woke shit. And they like to schmooze, they like to be connected to look, they're star fuckers, and that's fine. I mean, I've known plenty. I mean, we have them in the fandom, and it's fine. Okay, I don't, there are people that just like that connection, and if you're filthy rich in oil money, yeah, okay, you're bored. You want to go to cons on a yacht and hang out with Martin Scorsese and Francis Ford Coppola. I mean, okay, you don't have any idea what they really do, but all your friends will see you on your yacht with two huge film producers and directors, and then they'll go, they're still Bedouins. They're still Bedouin savages. And they don't care if they spend a lot of money, more money than something's worth, as long as they get the prestige. Okay, and that's the thing. I wouldn't pay a 1.3 billion for Lucasfilm, and again, because the point is, Faisal doesn't have the money to buy it outright. So he's probably got to gather investors. And it wouldn't surprise me that George is one of them. George has a lot more money than he does. Okay. And, look, the guy's 35 years old. He grew up with Star Wars. He grew up too late for the OT to be a kid for the OT. But he grew up with the prequels. He was a kid when they came out. And it was probably like, okay. And with the sequels, and again, it is possible for Lucasfilm to be sold. It is not impossible. You have to start getting people like the Black Pills to understand that we do not live in 2018 anymore. We live in 2023, and that this is a different era. Okay, and a lot of things are changing. Some for the good, some for the bad. I honestly, after the shit that went down at the White House with Trans Fest 2023 and people running around topless, I have to admit, it was disgusting. We've reached peak fuckery now, okay, and that, and while everyone's staring at that roadkill, things are changing. All right, it's not what it used to be. The economy's not what it used to be. Okay, Disney doesn't even pull in enough money right now to service its debt. That's how bad it's gotten, and there are too many people in the fandom that have hidden their heads in the sand over it. They'll never sell 1,000%. It's like, what color is the sky in your world? Are we even in the same timeline? All right. So I gotta go because I gotta go to rehab. Anything else happens, I will come back and either do an upload or go live again. And again, I apologize to Pro. Just a minute. Kojak! Stop it! Stop it! I apologize to Pro again for saying it was him that said that about George. And the fact it wasn't even on his channel, however. The fact that, yeah, well, Koji, I mean, here he is. Big boy. The fact of the matter is, it never should have been said in the first place. You don't say things like that. You don't talk about things like that. It's unethical. It's immoral. I mean, A, you don't know. B, it's shitty. And C, what if his kids hear it? And it's not true. You want to scare a 10-year-old kid? I saw it happen when Andrew Breitbart died. All right. Was he murdered? No. He died of a heart attack. He had really bad heart issues. Okay. And he didn't take care of himself. George, lifelong diabetic. And he's 79 years old. And he's still going strong. My mother-in-law, she's diabetic. She's been diabetic for the last 20, 25 years. She'd kick all of our asses. She's 86. So stop assuming things and stop the ageist bullshit, okay? This has got to stop. And I'll leave you with this. If a measure of a human being stops at the age of 50, then the person assuming that is a fucking asshole. They're ageist and they're bad people, okay? So I gotta go. But Pro, again, I'm sorry that I thought it was you who said it. The fact of the matter is, you didn't. I assumed you did. I'm sorry. However, no one called the person out who did say it, saying, we don't talk about personal stuff if we don't know the truth. We don't assume health issues. That's not what news people do. If you want to be a journalist, you don't do that, okay? Very easy to figure that out. And, you know, there you go. It's just a matter of doing the right thing, okay? So I gotta go. Yeah, I gotta go. And, you know, I'm not backing down from standing up to people when they throw shit around there. I mean, I'll leave you with this. 1,000% sure Lucasfilm will never be sold. Well, I could come up with a lot of historical analyses of why being 1,000% sure of anything is the wrong thing to think. Okay, while American tanks are rolling past you in the background, or Russian bombs are falling around you while you're yelling into the radio in Hitler's bunker. Never say that. Never. Okay? This is Steph signing out. I'll see you around the galaxy.